Hi, this is Tim Von Rieden with cgcookie.com, and in today's tip, I will be focusing on the basic process and steps I go about drawing realistic hair. This is non-software specific and is aimed towards beginners or those who have experience in digital painting but would like to see someone else's techniques on drawing hair. Okay, let's get started. So here I created a basic 8x8 canvas that we will be working on. So for hair, I like to use a 3-color basis system, and what that means is, say we were going to work with a dark brown, like a brunette color. So what I would like to do first is I choose the darkest of the 3 colors, which would be close to black but still up enough where you can see some of the brown tones. So I choose OK, and then I'm going to lay it down in the corner. So for my second color, what I would normally do if I was doing just a normal choosing a lighter color is I would go less saturated and less dark. But for hair, I'm going to go less dark, but I'm also going to keep it a little bit more saturated, because the way I like to draw hair is wherever the light's hitting it, I'm going to keep the saturation up as well. So I'm going to choose OK and then lay that color right under the first one. And now for my third color, I like to choose a color that isn't a pure white, because I'm going to save that for the specular, but instead I like to choose a color that has a little bit of a hue to it. So then those will be my 3 colors. So getting started, I'm going to go ahead and choose that dark brown, so the darkest of the 3. I'm going to go ahead and kind of lay out just a standard sample hair piece. And then near the middle of the hair, I'm laying it down pretty thick, so I'm pressing pretty hard against the tablet. And then near the edges, I'm keeping it a little more softer, because I don't want too hard of a crisp edge, because instead I'm going to save that for the detailing part, since this is just laying down the base color. And I can have a few strands coming off, but for the most part, I'm going to keep it very simple. And I'm imagining as if the scalp is up here, and then this is where the roots are taking shape. Okay, so that would be my base color. So now, if we can imagine that the light is coming from like an overhead view, so let me see if I can draw an arrow that kind of represents that. So if the light was coming from this direction, we're imagining that most of the shine and where we're going to draw the lighter hair color is going to happen in this rectangle. So if I turn that layers opacity really far down, so that I can keep that in mind while I'm laying down the other layers, but it's not distracting. So now I'm going to choose my second color. I'm going to go ahead and lay it right on top. I'm going to keep my brush size still relatively large, but when I'm laying this down, I'm going to be pressing a lot less hard than I was when I was laying down the base. And I'm also going to be pushing a little harder where the hair is closest to the viewer. So in this area right here, I'm going to lay down a little bit more of this color than in the back area. I'm just doing very gentle brush strokes going in this curved direction, because I'm remembering that hair follows the curvature of the head. It doesn't lay perfectly flat against a flat surface. Just going to bring that curve around the top of the hairline. And one thing I also am trying to do is I'm trying to kind of find some patterns and shapes that are being created from the second color. So you can kind of see where the hair breaks up a little bit. So I'm kind of just following that pattern and even detailing those shapes that are forming to break up the monotony of hair. So once I'm pretty satisfied with how the second color is looking, I'm going to go ahead and start my third color. And my third color is going to be the start of my shine. So now I'm going to switch from my hard edge brush to my soft edge brush, and it's one of the standard ones. I'm just going to gently lay it down across the medium toned color, right where the shine would be in the middle. And then from there, I'm going to put my brush size very small, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of highlight that center area. And I'm doing this to round out the shape a little bit more and get it ready for the specular. Because when we lay on the specular, which is the highlighted white areas, it's going to be in very dense, small areas. So then this kind of helps bleed it out a little bit without it being a pure white being bled into the hair. So now from here, this would be my detailing phase. So I can go in and kind of highlight those shadows and make them a little bit more stronger. Pull them out from the underlying hair a little bit more. So I'm just grabbing like the darker brown by holding Alt and just kind of picking it up. I'm just laying it down. I'm also going to turn my brush very, very small, and I'm going to go ahead and do some fringe work, because the hair does not lay perfectly flat all the way from root to tip. There's areas where it fringes out, and it definitely adds a lot more realism if you add a lot of these strokes, but don't press too hard down where you're doing strokes like this that are coming off, because we're trying to almost create individual hair strands. So we're trying to keep it really light and really soft, as if this hair is just fringing out strand by strand. And same with near the where it's coming out of the scalp. Just do a lot of little lines kind of representing that this is where it's starting, and have a few strands going up. And then just follow that curve that we've already created. So now I'm going to hide that underlying layer that we had that was helping us see where the light was shining from. And now this is where I like to do an overlay layer. And what an overlay will do to this is it'll kind of emphasize that there's a light hitting this hair. So I'm going to take a color that is very sunny and warm, and I'm going to go ahead and lay it right in that center area. And you can see how it kind of makes that brown pop even more, and it just feels a little bit more warm. And if I turn this layer on and off, you can definitely see how it adds to it. And now is when I'm going to do the actual specular layer. So I'm going to grab that white, and very lightly I'm going to go ahead and draw a line almost perfectly down that center strip. So if I turn that on and off, you can see how lightly I press that line on. And then from there, I'm just going to go and highlight just a few strands that are laying right across that middle piece. But I'm going to keep it more toward the front and not toward the back, since that's where we have the most light hitting. Alright, and there we go. So this is how I would go about creating a sample piece of hair. And this was all using either the hard edge or the soft edge brush, and using 3 colors and an overlay layer. I would definitely recommend looking into an actual hair brush or creating your own. It will make it laying down the process faster, but if anything, you can always rely on the circle brushes that are provided. So I hope you learned something from this, and thanks for watching.